I've been trading for more than 5 years, and over the last 5 years, I must taken at least 1,000 trades. And last year, I finally got profitable. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down little tips and tricks that finally got me profitable. And this video is especially for you if you feel you're often in the right bias, but you end up getting stopped out, and then the real move comes. Because that's the breaking point that I discovered why that was happening to me, and I managed to make that into my biggest strength. And so the reason that is happening so often, like what I would do is I would see like a breakdown below, something like that, and then I would go short, right? Because like, or let's say this fair value gap here, something like that, and I would get stopped out, right? The move would always be slow, 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 and then I would get stopped out like that. And I didn't really understand why this was happening to me until I understand it's because that's the way the markets are engineered, right? Banks rule the market. Banks need stop loss orders. I was the stop loss order, and many of you probably are. And so what usually happens is move down. They engineer liquidity here for weeks or days or hours, depending on your time frame. Double top, break down below. People go short, people go short, people go short. They finally sweep it. That's when smart money position themselves, right? And what I did last year, what I figured out is I figured this thing out. And with this, you can literally predict the bias everywhere because you understand when the smart money is going to take up their position. You can predict the manipulation move, you can predict the real move. And I'll give you an example just in like yesterday's market as well. Um, we had this loud and clear bear flag here, right? And what happened is we had this 4 hour propulsion block, which is basically the move is gonna happen from this. The big fall that I predicted last week is gonna happen from this order block. Um, and so we got this breakdown below here. Now we knew that the propulsion block is where they're going to fill up their positions. And we know that when we get this breakdown below, that's when people go short, right? Double top, people go short. Breakdown below pattern, people go short. And so we wanted to see this little manipulation short because then we know that liquidity is going to be engineered. And so if you feel like you would have gone short here, or here in this fair value gap or whatever, that's probably what's been happening to you. You don't anticipate the breakout being engineered liquidity because that's what most breakouts are. They're just engineered liquidity. And until you understand that, I mean, you can't really do, you can't catch the big move, right? And so what happens is breakdown below, move up, sweep liquidity. Now it's way more liquidity here than if we would have just got a breakout up before, right? Imagine price didn't break down below. Then a bunch of people wouldn't have gone short. And that's basically from this, you can just anticipate, okay, we want to refill this order block. This pattern should break down lower, and that's where I'm going to find my setup. Now here we got that on a 15-second order block. On my live stream, I did not take this because I'm still backtesting on the 15-second and 5-second order blocks. If this would have been a 1 minute order block, hell yeah, I would have been in that. I would have caught this. But it's still slightly beyond my ability, but doesn't really matter. Um, so that's probably the first thing, I think. You really want to become a master of understanding the engineer liquidity. Like backtest, look for this pattern. It happens everywhere. Second thing that I like to say is standard deviation is ridiculous. If you take basically what's going on this entire move up is smart money buying. You take that, multiply by 2 to 2.5, which is this distance here. And what I mean by that is this distance, and then you multiply it 1, 2, 2.5, right? That's the distance. And what you'll notice is these extension moves are ridiculously accurate. And I'll go ahead and just show you like a couple examples here. Boom, last crash, there. Boom, last 2022 crash, there. Let's drop down in 4 hours, see if we can find something. Uh, let's take this, clearly a used order block. Get manipulation down from that, right? Why that? We clearly use it. Boom, 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 boom. Same thing here. Clearly a used order block. What happens? Boom, boom, boom. Like it's ridiculous. I'll show you the latest trade that I took thanks to this, which was here on the London. We want to find the propulsion block, meaning the third order block one, order block two. No, order block one, order block two. This was order block three up there. And what you want to do is you want to find these little pockets of engineer liquidity because they're lethally, like, they work. Find three order blocks from it. On the third one, look for a 1 minute order block as an entry. This is why I took this setup, because we did get the 1 minute order block that I love. Right there. Why this is an order block is because before the fall below this low, we get a breakout out, right? Which engineers liquidity on the 1 minute time frame. Stops taking, smart money position themselves. This is after we sweep this low. And another thing, another example of engineer liquidity here is this trend line, breakout above, stops there. Double bottom, where are stops? Obviously at the double bottom. Another breakout, stops below there. Like it, it's just so clear once you start seeing how order flow is engineered, where liquidity is, and that is the thing that will get you funded. And if you haven't really gotten funded before, I think the most common problem that I struggle with, at least, is I was right. I was so often right, but didn't hold it long enough because I didn't know when the real move was gonna happen. And if I did catch the trade, I would get stopped out too early, and then the real move would come, right? Um, and so with this strategy or framework of finding the three order blocks, which is basically one, two, and three, you kind of eliminate that because smart money want three times in general to purchase before the real move can happen. And then how long do you hold your position for? Until the propulsion block standard deviation, and usually aligns with some kind of PD array, like yeah, I don't know where the trade was, but whatever. Yeah, it was there, I think. So it aligned with this order block there. Now, finally, I like to stretch the importance of finding the bias. Someone told me you can never fail in trading if you're always on the right side of the bias, which is not completely true because you can be very, very bad at the lower time frame setups and over leverage. But if you take small position sizes and you're always right about the bias, then the bias will get you your money, right? And it's very true. Like if you become a true expert of understanding the bias, then you'll get it. And the way that I use bias is I study the standard deviation a lot. I always have the standard deviation in the back of my mind, like, okay, until we reach this draw, we are likely to keep going in that direction, right? And then you do that for the lower time frames as well. And then, even more importantly, I work with different patterns to see how order flow is building up. This right now, for example, we are having this pattern. Now, what's going to happen is we're going to get a breakout, probably below here. What does that mean? It means people are going to go short. Breakout means people go short. That means we can anticipate a manipulation move to sweep their stops. And that is when smart money can truly get into their trade, right? Until you find that, you can't really get the move you want, right? Because smart money hasn't participated. If this move breaks down below here, it can't really keep going bearishly because smart money hasn't been given like the liquidity they need to partake in the move, and that's the logic. And with that, you can just utilize it to find your bias almost every single time. Like, think, where have we manipulated so that retail have their stops, or pattern traders, because many institutions, I believe, trade patterns as well. Where do they have their stops so that the real smart money can participate in the real move? And you find this out by studying order flow. So if this is the liquidity, we break that, or let's just say the breakout. That's the breakout, I'd rather say. Breakout below this pattern, stops there. Let's say our bias then becomes look for a lower time frame or block here, pattern up here, sweep, liquidity, right? Once we sweep that liquidity, that's when smart money can truly position themselves. You have to understand that the real move can't happen until smart money has positioned themselves. That's the game. If you learn that, then you're in, okay? Um, and you do this simply by finding, okay, where's the manipulation? Where do retail go short? Where are retail gonna have their stops? And so I'll show you examples of this. Like here, I showed you before, we got all these double tops, all these fake breakouts below. All of this is just engineer liquidity being built up above this specific high, right? Not above here. The only liquidity that we have up there is this first double top. All these other people have their stops above there. And so for that, there is no reason for us to sweep this high. And I said that in my first ever video. And what's gonna happen then is once that liquidity sweep is taken, it drops down to the 4-hour time frame. If you're on the higher time frame, find the lower time frame order block, which is this. Why? People go short upon this breakout. Where are their stops? First intermediate range high, which is right there. And you find this order block, you find it validated, and you take your entry there. Or if you're a super expert, you look for like a 1 minute order block, 5 minute order block to form there. And you do this setup, you extend this move, the entire move, 2 to 2.5. And you're gonna find yourself having some ridiculous risk rewards. Same thing here in this last crash as well. Where do we build up liquidity here? Above this high, right? Look, break down below, stops there. Double top, double top, double top. Breakout below, stops. Real move can't happen until we sweep that high. Same thing. And we get this 4-hour order block there. Where do you go short? There. Stop above there. How long do you hold it for? Standard deviation, 2 to 2.5. There. I mean, it's ridiculous, but I'm live streaming this every day in the intraday, and it happens every day. Okay, understanding this framework of understanding when the real move is gonna happen will allow you to find a 10 risk reward trade 3 to 5 times a week. It is ridiculous, and me understanding this just last year is what truly got me profitable. Um, and I think I'll be able to scale this knowledge a lot 2026 and just completely push. And for 2027, my goal is to participate in the Robbins Cup and win. Um, that's my goal. And I believe I can make it happen if I keep studying and journaling and all of that every single day. Now, that's another thing. The the last reason I think is holding people back from being profitable is they take stupid trades that they know they shouldn't take, but they're kind of addicted or they really enjoy it, or they have some kind of external pressure. Because you do, because people think you're dumbass for trading, right? They don't believe it works because they haven't seen the logic. They haven't seen it with their own eyes, and they're too lazy to even try it, right? But we know, you and me, that it works. It's a logic in it, but you have this pressure because it takes time to learn, and they don't. The other people, they don't see it. They don't see the logic. They don't see the money yet, and so they start thinking, okay, who is this guy? And because of that, you want to rush it, and so you take a bit stupid trades sometimes. I think I did that, and that's dangerous. I think doing that, it's it's what causes many funded to go slower than they should have. If you just set your rules very strict, like literally map out what makes an A plus trade. For me, I map that out, and then I just take trades based on that logic. And if you do that, you're gonna find good trades. So for me, it was okay, 3 order blocks, close proximity. In the third order block, you want a 1 minute order block, sweeping the low. 1 minute order block was formed there. That's your risk reward. That's your entry upon validation, and you hold it until the standard deviation of the 15-minute order block. And that gave me a 10 risk reward. Beautiful trade. That's an A plus for me. Map out what is it for you. Have this little checkbox. What time should it be? What what do you want to see? Has this happened? Yes, 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 yes. Write down, journal before. Okay, this is a good trade because of this logic. If I'm wrong, this is what's likely to happen. For example, I was wrong yesterday on stream. I thought this would be a bullish propulsion block. Now, if you follow me, you know that propulsion blocks should not get retraced back into equilibrium. It can tap, but not more. And that happened. And that's a sign you are violently offside, um, which I was there. Luckily, my entry was here upon this inverse fair value gap. So I I didn't lose any money. Stop was a break even, was a free trade, but know those things. When are you wrong? What should you look out for? When are you offside? If you know that, you're very much less likely to take big losing trades. And if you don't take losing trades, you're gonna win. I think that's the game. And the last thing is you what I did, I met this 16-year-old who was a hustler. He was really fucking business heavy. He had like 50K monthly recurring revenue from his social media marketing agency. And I was like, whoa, I think I gotta hop on that, right? And then I started doing that half time and then trading half time. And that kind of messed me up quite a lot, I think. Like, because you need a lot of focus and time to truly master trading, I think. And me half committing to both made nothing work. So I think you gotta choose one thing that works and you want to stick with it. And if you do that, I think you will succeed in trading. But it will take time and people will doubt you and you will doubt yourself and you will fear, will this work? And yes, it will work. In your dreams, whatever you want to do when you get your money, they will happen. Because if you can commit years and years and years to trading, in the end, now I feel I have a system I can go in 5 days a week and just print money with. And it's logical. And and I think that's very rewarding. And I think that will happen to anyone who commits for long enough. So don't quit, okay? It's very important. I wanted to see this. Yeah, look at that standard deviation as well. It's quite ridiculous every single time. Um, yeah, and yes, are there better traders than me out there? Yes, it is. I'm not some freak. I've just been at it for 3.5 years roughly, but I got profitable, and I think that's a big step for many people. That's what most people just want. And to you who are almost there, just keep going in every single day, because you will get it. Keep journaling, okay? And oh, you gotta journal. Like I didn't do it for so long, but it's it's more not because you always learn stuff, but it's because you become less prone to make stupid shit. Like writing it down and ingrains it in your brain even more. Like I was at the gym first day of my funded, like a new challenge I bought. Boom, I was at the gym. I was feeling like Kobe because I'd taken a winning trade just the other day on my Express account. And I took that trade at the gym, spent like 2 minutes prepping, was it'll work. Full size, boom, down 800 immediately. Come on. Like I I wrote that down and I was pissed at myself. And I know I won't do that again, take a dumbass trade in the gym, because I it's ingrained in me. Like I'm a nobody, okay? Until I've I've been disciplined in this for many years, you're still a nobody, I think, in terms of the trading career. I mean, you're obviously somebody in other aspects, but in this game, it takes a lot of time. And yeah, so do that because you will be more disciplined. I recommend journaling before you trade as well. The reason for that is, as I said, you map out what you want to see, what you don't want to see. It prepares you better. Hmm, what else did I want to say? I think, yeah, that's it. Don't quit. Don't quit.